Good evening, everyone. It's time for us to call to order our regularly scheduled board meeting, October 12th, 2023. Meeting is called to order. We do not have a quorum tonight, so we will move through some of the preliminary items on our agenda that we typically cover. We do have Carrie here from Plant Moran, who is going to talk to us about our audit. So I think we can move right there and give you the floor.
Thank you. So good evening, everybody. I am here to cover your audit. So just to be clear on roles, Plant Moran did not perform the audit. Allen Young and Associates did, and then we've continued to assist in the finance role. You have a few documents in front of you. So the bound packet is the financial statements. They also provided their end of audit letter, and then I have provided slides. You want me to put them up? Oh, I was gonna say, is that you or?
That will be me. I just said, did you?
Okay. I did. I sent them to you, and Crystal.
Did you talk about the end of letter?
I will. I was actually gonna start there. So if you want, I know that. So the end of audit letter is a required document that all auditors need to provide to kind of close the loop on the audit. And so the contents of it are stipulated by the standards as far as the items they're required to discuss. Your letter is boilerplate language, which is what we would expect. There are no findings or material weaknesses in the audit this year, and you received an unmodified, which is a clean opinion. There are a couple items that are just noted in the letter. One is that there was a new accounting standard that was implemented this year. It's GASB 96, and it has to do with the, if you recall last year, we were required to address leases in your statements for the first time more formally. We always had capital leases. This year we have subscription-based information technology arrangements.
I noticed that.
We call them SPITAs for short. And so that process was actually more involved, I would say, for a library than many cities, because you have so many more subscription-based things that you use. And so your list was probably at least a dozen or 15 that we had to go through. I won't go into the details, but there's requirements on what we do or do not need to go ahead and capitalize and show on your statement. So I think it was about 70,000 in like lease payments that we had to show. And then they also comment on that there are estimates that are used in your financial statements, which is expected and normal. We have your OPEB asset in your case, so the retiree benefit pension or retiree healthcare, and then also your pension, which are actuarial based. So by nature, there's going to be assumptions. So that's the report that you aim for. So that is the stapled piece of it. And then I'm going to cover some of the numbers by using the slides. And go ahead and go to the first one.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Page 2 under scope and timing of the audit risks and other. It says they've identified significant risks. Trail the statement override of controls and revenue recognition, but then it says during our audit, we did not note any findings.
Correct. So standards require auditors to in the planning phase determine what could be the most significant areas of possible risk in any entity. So for them, they identified override of controls. So that would be the ability for someone to override a necessary internal control and potentially do something they shouldn't. And then also revenue recognition. So that's the timing at year end. And then they're saying they've addressed those and they didn't have any findings or exceptions. So there were no concerns. But that, you know, when Enron and everything happened, like this letter and that process is all a result of that. I was thinking like, what could go wrong? And how can we address that? So I had already mentioned, I think most everything on this slide. So you did get a clean opinion and like an A if you were to give it that equivalency for the report card. So if we go to the next slide, we'll take a look at the trend over the past 5 years, and this is just your general. So the first column in your financial statement. So you can see that revenues have continued to trend upward. The most significant revenue stream continues to be your property taxes. That was about 80% of your revenue this year. There was an increase in that. So it was a function of an increase in taxable value. Your actual mills that are assessed are going down because you were rolled back related to Headley. So, but the taxable value increase was pretty significant year over year. So it's about 280 million. So that overall drove those property taxes up a couple $100,000 from last year. The other categories were pretty stable with the exception of other. So other includes your vending, grants, MetroNet, and then what really drove it up was your interest. So you had $135,000 increase in interest income due to adjustments that you had made. So that's great. And so that's what you'll see that went up from 40 to 156,000. Any questions on the revenue piece? Let's move on to the expenditure side. So still remaining in the general fund. You can see that there was overall an increase to 6.3 million for roughly in your total expenditures. Salaries and fringes, like any other library, continue to be the bulk of your expenses. So that's about 56% of your expenses. And I know the board's familiar with physicians filling and wage increases that have uptick that a bit. There was also a substantial amount of capital outlay that was done this year. So just a few was like the automated material handling, the chiller replacement. You had the sidewalk out here, parking lot reconstruction. The RFIDs were in there, both firewall doors. So all of those items are captured in capital outlay. The administrative went down. There was a few pieces. So the TLN costs were down. Your insurance and bonds were down. And then the substantial part of it was the automation related expenses were down 50,000 from what was incurred in fiscal 22. And then facilities and equipment. So this is, I think we're all feeling this ourselves. So your utilities are in there and those just continue to increase for everybody. So there was about a $30,000 increase in that. Also included in there as part of the equipment. So this is where that's the subscription base that I mentioned. There's about 70,000 that we had to record as an accounting function. And that's in that line. And then there were some increases in professional services and then also maintenance and repairs. And then the last slide. So this takes a look at fund balance, but shifts to all of your funds combined. So this is no longer just the general fund. This includes the capital project fund, your endowment. And so when you look at the breakdown at the bottom, you can kind of break it out by fund. So non-spendable is your prepaid amount. So things you've already paid for that you'll benefit from after the balance sheet date. The restricted is from gifts and memorials over time. It's mainly restricted for books and the branch operations there. The committed piece is your endowment balance. So that's the endowment fund in your whole. The assigned, that 2.7 million, that's your capital projects fund. And then the unassigned is the remaining part that's available for spending without any restrictions at all in your general fund. The other item I was going to mention that's not on the slide that I think is significant in your statements is just to touch on your pension and OPEB. So your pension liability is about 2.7 million at the end of this year, and that continues to, you're doing what you need to do there. You're making your payments and everything. Your OPEB flipped to an asset. So that's what you've set aside for retiree healthcare. And you have an asset of about 1.7 million. So Kelly and I had talked about this when the report came out. You know, that's a number with a closed system you're gonna want to monitor. So I think we talked about you maybe discussing even with the attorney that, like, how could we use that? Just to make sure, because our restrictions now that it's in trust. So all good news overall. You didn't have any, I believe, I don't think there were any budget overruns for the year of significance, and everything was, I think, expected as what we've been seeing. There were no adjustments, so these would be consistent numbers with what we've been reporting to you each month.
Questions, comments? Thank you, Carrie, of course, for the report. And thank you, Kelly and staff.
Yes.
For consistently putting together a solid budget. I think because the way to really have good budget performance is to start with a good budget. And I've had the opportunity now to see you do this a few times. And so-
with help.
with help, you all do this, right? But I think through the management of the operation, right, we are coming in usually under budget and usually with what we need. Not a lot of extra waste, if you will. If someone were to look for that, I don't think they would find a lot of it. So thank you.
And we are in the process of working on a budget amendment now that we just finished Q1. So that will probably be for you in the next month or so. So.
Any questions? Okay.
All right.
Thank
Well,
you.
thank you so
Thank you,
much.
Karen.
Enjoy this lovely evening, right?
Thank you.
And one this week.
All right. With that, Kathy, do we have anything else from the finance committee or from that area?
But I do need to go ask.
Yes, absolutely. All right, I don't know, like, I need to investigate that. I think that will take us to our Friends of the Library report. So Stacy, I will turn it over to you.
Thank you so much, Ernie. So a couple of things. Obviously, the Angela and Bowley event on Monday, which is, you know, nearer and nearer and looming on the horizon, and we're very excited about. And I can't tell you how happy I am that the staff has been so amazing. Really amazing about everything. So we're looking forward to it. The friends are going to have a table there. We have a spiffy new tablecloth, and we'll be looking at recruitment, like just in general, and maybe for some board stuff. I'm going to get up and say a few things, and it's mostly just thank you so much for supporting blah, 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 blah. The more you support, the more that we can contribute to the whole arts and literature scene here in Farmington Hills, which is actually like super surprising to me how popular this is. I've got a couple of friends on social media who don't necessarily live here, a coworker who's coming with her book club. So it's the attraction is obviously more than, you know, just Farmington Hills, but I think just in terms of like everything that we're doing, like what Sarah is accomplishing with really making sure that the library is front and center and everybody's attention, that we've done such an amazing job of becoming sort of a presence in Metro Detroit in the library scene. I think at least for the community members, right? So that's great. That's great. I mean, you don't have to have a fantastic building without Pebble Dash in order to create some good stuff happening. So we're super excited. The book sale is next weekend, and I'm getting everything in train for that with the help of obviously the rest of the Friends boards who are getting volunteers for it. I will not be here because I double booked myself to take my kid and my mother to Chicago because the kid lost out on Chicago during COVID. So this is like a makeup trip. So, but I trust that the volunteers they make people pay more than I would. So they do a really good job. A couple of things coming up. Oh, right. Giving Tuesday. So the marketing director had an idea to promote Giving Tuesday for Summer Reading Club, and that motion carried. So we will go forward with Giving Tuesday in November with an ask for Summer Reading Club for in order to give books to K-12, well, baby through 12, I guess, maybe you could say, so they can get a book at the beginning and a book at the end, and we can bookend their experience with it. So, and we're gonna see how we can wrap that into going forward with that so that we don't have to look for grants quite so much. We passed the library funding, everything that was on the plate for July through December got a yes. We also, and with the help of Crystal Corcoran, got the Library Speakers Consortium, which is a live, and I might have mentioned this, live Zoom meetings with really well-known authors. And that is live as of yesterday, I think. So we're gonna talk about that and promote it. And it really is kind of amazing. It's like being able to like sit down with Marie Benedict that we paid $4,000 for. Only you get to do it 2 or 3 times a month. We pay, I think, $6,000 or so over the course of the year. And you can go back and look at the recorded Zooms. And so it just looks really kind of amazing and really is going to reinforce that experience. And we're thinking about going forward with author events. If we have this kind of thing, maybe making this as sort of our fundraiser to replace the Oscar Shorts, which we really don't have access to in any kind of way that would be super comfortable for anybody. So that is on the agenda. Was there anything else to talk about? No, I think that's it.
It's just one,
Any
you
questions?
approved from,
July through December.
no,
We approved the whole year?
yeah.
That's right, we did.
I was like, 118,000 for 4 months is, or 6 months is a lot.
That's right, because we didn't want to go back and reapprove stuff.
Right.
Oh, I
all
thought
of
maybe you guys had approved the bus.
Oh, right.
Oh, no, that would be way
That
more
was
than
your
that.
quarterly lease payment.
I wish, right? So,
That would be very funny and Bob wasn't here to like.
I know. That'd be super funny. Serve him right. I mean, that would be, so any questions about anything?
Questions? Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, that will take us, collector's report.
So let's see. We're working on the stadium report, as I reported, that is the stupidest report ever. I just want to put that out there, but.
On the record. This meeting is recorded.
But they change it every year. Like we had it all set up, all the information they needed, and they changed the way they were gonna do it. So nowadays, and it's not me, the staff had to go back and reconfigure the figures the way it needs to be. But anyway, it's almost done, and we'll have it done by November. That's my goal, because remember, sooner you get it in, the sooner you get your money. So first in, first gets paid. So we are interviewing for facilities position. Thank goodness, because Jill and I are done. But yes, it's just been one thing after, and you know, it's like. I know my strengths and I know my weaknesses. I am a proactive person. I am not a reactive person, and having to be reactive to everything stresses me out big time. So going forward, we're going to be more proactive with preventative maintenance and stuff like that. So anyway, first meeting for the master plan was this morning. Kathy will discuss that. And included in your packet is the master plan work plan type of thing. It's in one of your pages. Yeah. Oh, Stacy talked about the approval. Tag days are October 13th and 14th. So if you know what tag days are, Farmington Public Schools, they will be standing outside the door of the students asking for donations. We do it every year. I put our name on the list to play the band or orchestra in the lobby, so we'll see if we get chosen. But tomorrow or on Saturday also is the eclipse, and so we have a program. Yeah, and
we have glasses to give out for patrons to use to walk to see. But then there's also a special program, but org chart, it's such a beautiful thing. It's in your board packet. I'm so, Sona did a wonderful job. It's so colorful.
Yeah, it's very easy to read. You know, personally, for me, the org chart, that was the thing when I arrived, I was saying, can I see an org chart?
There was not, well, it was an old
We
one.
went back and forth about org
Well,
charts.
it wasn't right.
So when I saw that, I must say, I did a little bit of a happy dance. I was like, yes.
It only took 2 years, but you know.
But then I'm like, how can I have her on a daily basis? But I didn't know who did it at that point. But I was like, this is great.
Staff Day is November 10th, Friday, November 10th. We will be closed. Both libraries will be closed that day. We're still working out the logistics of it. We have training sessions in the afternoon. And I usually do a state of the library, what's going on at the library, what's, you know, over the past year, what our goals are for this year. I think. Recognize staff that way. Our library card contest, we received 75 library card designs. And so, yes, and so, and we had, for library cards that we have, sign up, we have over 700 new card holders, which was fantastic too. So we will, Sarah's getting that all together and we will vote on our favorite designs.
So now who votes? Is
Staff.
staff voting or is the public voting?
Staff.
Oh.
How much library cards do we still have?
How many registered holders is there?
No.
Well, what's that?
Oh,
Oh, not much, not much.
I think it's 4. I just, my husband had to get a replacement. for it.
Oh.
we have 4 designs.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm talking about the boxes of.
Yeah, there's not many left. There's not many left.
And then we had a lot of staff. Mary Zecker retired after 25 years. Steve Copeland was hired.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, for him. Okay. I didn't know this.
He's retired from FPS last year, last June.
I thought
in June,
Steve
yeah.
was working at the big boy.
He is.
Well, is he
Okay.
still, I don't know. Some jobs and, you know, like he
I
wanted
see,
to
he's
do
everywhere. Yeah,
yeah.
everybody was thinking he owned, they owned the big boy. That's what people thinking at first, that they were the franchise.
But everybody recognizes him because if your kids went through FPS when he was there and that when Dunkel was Dunkel, you know, it was like everybody recognizes his face.
What's he doing?
He's a circulation, works in
Okay,
patient
that's good.
services. Yeah.
Okay, I will confess, I thought he was on staff here anyway at first, like.
Oh, 'cause he always comes to the
Here, 'cause He
events.
was always here and
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, then I realized he was a teacher and I thought, oh, okay. But
Right.
then I realized he was married to Sandy.
Yeah.
So I think I put a lot of.
And then because Jill moved up to assistant director, Crystal Borger was promoted to head of adult services, Farron Watson was promoted to assistant adult services. She's very excited about that. She just started this week.
Awesome.
And then-
I see her on the Instagram.
Wasn't she cute? Did you see that
I
one with
did.
her little Edgar Allan?
Yeah.
She's
Oh.
as a detective.
Oh, yeah, I saw her when she's getting ready to go out. She was like, "Who's that?"
And then we are researching a new pay system. Payroll system. Crystal, God bless her, has been sitting through all their demos to weed out the ones and so we have and Plant Moran has weighed in because they deal a lot with other libraries and
Other systems.
other systems and what do they get the most, who do they get the least amount of complaints from? And so,
And this
Right.
will replace ADP.
yes.
Okay.
So what, you know, the quotes, it's amazing, the quote, so what do we pay right now? We pay probably $4,000 a month for ADP, $4,500 a month. Paylocity, for instance, is quoted $1,700.
That's kind of what and the consultative services that they purport to offer in the package, as we have found, aren't really that thorough, right? So it's like, if we really need those things reviewed, document review and that kind of stuff, we probably would engage somebody to do it anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
So we're gonna
Yeah.
figure that out.
Well, that's good.
That's ridiculous.
That's good.
So anyway, that's what's going on. Michigan, I can never get this right. Michigan Municipal League, our insurance company, we belong to the property pool, so every year they have something left over and they return
Okay.
some of the money back to us. So this, we were getting a check, or already have gotten a check for $5,580. And then I received an email from a patron who was a grad student at the University of Findlay. I recently have visited the Farmington Community Library at 12 Mile. My professor had recommended I visit for a class project where I needed to locate a potential grant funder for a community programming project. Had a very nice meeting with Sherry Vaughn, the grant director, and I wanted to let you know that I appreciate all the help I received from Sherry and the staff at the consultation desk. I also appreciated the library's long hours, which gave me the opportunity to come work on my school project after work. So I felt like I did not need to rush. I hope this message received you well and shows how much help your candid foundation director subscription helped me during my last semester of school. And then Crystal Sexton attended the Commission on Youth and Families. And she sent an email that she had attended the monthly meeting, and a commission member praised the library's numerous and quality events that we host. She was seeing the events in our email newsletters. And another member chimed in with how much they love the app and how easy it is to put a book on hold now. And so that's it.
That is awesome. I would love to maybe hear from Sarah at some point about usage rates of the app and even the new website design when she gets there and she's got some of that figured out. When the app was released, that board meeting night, whatever week that was, I was down there, using it myself. And I think it is great.
I like the app. I like to check out my own book.
I like the app. Once I got past my blockers, it's great, but the app is good. All right, anything else?
I think that it's. I have a lot of papers here, but I don't think they have anything else to do with. So I think that's it. Do you have any question?
Okay. All right, thank you. That will take us to, well, did you want to say anything about the meeting reports or give any facility? I see you have facilities.
Oh, facilities.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I thought we had discussed, but we didn't discuss that officially in the meeting. So yes, there's a lot of things going on right now between the AMH project. Did I not? Okay, let me talk about the fire door for firewall or fire door, whatever. Okay, didn't pass certification. Oh. That's a whole nother story. So they have to come back. It wouldn't come down all the way, so whatever. So they have to come back. They have to figure out why it didn't come down all the way. It goes off like it's supposed to do. It just doesn't go all the way to the floor. So there's that. The AMH, so we are working on, we need to put in electricity because it has to have a dedicated 120 volt and 20 amp line. There needs to be 2 of them installed. So what's currently there won't work. So we had the electrician come in this morning, and he doesn't think it'll be a problem. He thinks that if they don't tear out everything, he can just reuse some of the conduit that comes down and put it in. So that should be okay. From what I understand, November 13th is the demo date based on the timeline to take everything out, and then it should be done by.
That you meant it was gonna be demonstrated.
No, like demo is it demolish?
Yeah, I got it, yeah.
And then mid-December is when it should be all in place, but there's some things that we have to do, and there's another thing we have to do, we have to take out. Oh, you're in the back circ area, but there's that cement ledge as you walk in that goes all along where the conveyor is, part that has to be taken out. So that you can get a book card, but that's on the list too. But other than that, the sump pumps, we've had They were clogged, the pipe was clogged, so we had to get those cleaned out last week. There was a gas leak in Farmington. The drains here, the bathrooms clogged up here, so we had to have them snaked because people throw stuff in the toilet all the time, and so it's usually gloves or flushable wipes or a paper towel or something like that. So it makes it overflow. So that's been our that's been our life these past. What?
We're gonna send you some good hiring energy.
Yes.
So that you can wrap that process up, but I know that's a key role.
It is.
So. Right, that will take us to unfinished business. I don't know, well, I know that we won't take any action on it tonight due to lack of quorum. But I did want to see if there was any conversation, any questions, any thoughts on this, or we could reserve it certainly for next meeting, when we have quorum. Ready to take some action on it. Crystal did send out, kind of a digest. It was interesting as I was reading through that. It was kind of like the conversations that I have had with her over the time. It's like, okay, you know, it's kind of, you know, it was kind of nice to see all of that there, about, you know, what she's been doing. I think as we move forward in the space, you know, I think the board itself, right, have got some work to do, right, about what our goals are and what we see the future of the library looking like. So I think there's some work to do there. But I'm pretty excited about us being able to at least move forward in solidarity with the librarian community in this regard. So, any questions? If not, we will reserve this item for next month. All right, so that will take us to subcommittee updates. And just a note about subcommittees, for Delhara's benefit primarily, we are looking and seeking your input on a number of committees that we have that are standing. The good news is we don't have a lot of committees. We generally like to bring most items to the full board, so things kind of don't go down rabbit holes or get off into corners and things. There's a lot of transparency. But there are a few committees that we have active, which is personnel and finance. And then in the case of the master plan committee, which is the staff committee, we will have a board appointee. So we'll talk about that, I'm assuming, at next month's meeting also,
Right.
because we will not take any action tonight. So be thinking about whether or not you feel like your interest is more finance, or if it's more personnel, or if it's both. You know, I think that it's not gonna be both.
Or millage.
Oh, true, because the millage, that will be a special opportunity that will come up. So absolutely, yeah. All right. But with that though, Kathy, maybe since you did attend the master plan meeting, if you don't mind, if you have some things to share.
Well, we met with Steve and Diane, representatives from MCD. And they gave us the master plan project work. So this is the timeline pretty much for working with the master. We had the kickoff meeting today. Over here, I posted the graphics. And you received these in the utilization subcommittee packet that we got quite a while ago. But this just shows the lower part and the upper part up here of Farmington Hills, and then the main level. And it's how it is now, but this is thoughts about what it could look like on the outside. So enlarging of staff work area, outdoor staff break, recessed outdoor children's program area, outdoor programming area, nature walk outdoors, and improved entry, and then this outdoor study. So these are things that could be incorporated into it. This is, but they haven't even started rearranging the inside of the library yet. This is Farmington And this shows the lower level and the upper level. And then what possibly could happen there. Outdoor program area along Liberty, new ADA compliant entry and little amphitheater here in the corner. New ADA compliant entry, proposed addition. And I had mentioned, that if you went out, you'd be losing parking spaces, but then Steve is also on the Farmington City Council, so he said, well, it's possible that they could somehow configure, at least I think that's what he said, part of this parking lot to become part of our parking lot, which makes less sense. And yeah. So anyways, that's what they were talking about. We may have a few more meetings in between now and 12/7, which is when they were gonna have the committee meet next. And that's when we have a preliminary master plan with data and proposed based improvements. And you can see what else is happening. So they hope to have it finished in February, so to present to the board. Yeah, so that's what we did. It was a nice meeting. Excited.
I know you are. When this kind of came across, I was kind of interested too, but I'm honestly oversubscribed. So that's a fact. But then I was really like, if other people want to do this, like, don't feel free not to put me on this. So this is good. Appreciate the update. All right, so we do have a couple of items on the agenda under new business, but we'll hold those until the next month, which would be the approval of the org chart, which we have, and everyone will have some time to review. And then we have a recommendation from the committee, staff committee, and Steve, an official board liaison to the master planning committee, so it would be a formal thing. And so we would look to do that since Kathy has so graciously volunteered her services to do that. Do we have any correspondence? No. Okay. Do we have any public comment? Any trustee comment? Okay. Yes, you may.
I need to know what emails you're using. Is anybody using the Farm Live email if I email you, or are we still using the? I know you use the Farm Live email. I don't know that yours works. Yeah, I haven't tried it.
I'll tell you this, when I communicate with them, I use their personal emails.
Okay, and
I
that's what
usually
I've
send
been
them
using.
both, but
I was committed to using Farm Live, and then I saw an email come in from you on FPS. Oh, good.
that's the thing, it's kind of like.
I don't know which the best one to
I don't use Farm Live. We'll find it out for.
I am trying to use both, but I recognize if I actually want them to see it,
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, right, and so I don't know, because I know some people will have a hard time getting it. Have you tried yours?
I had,
Okay.
I had a few too many email accounts, so I'm trying to figure out.
And I think
Okay.
that's when,
Right.
once we have Sharon, or once we have our new board member Sharon, we can say that she was appointed Monday night from Farmington Hills. Then we will have a retreat, and maybe that'd be a good topic for us to align on. And maybe Pat has an idea for us around best practice. What would be the best thing for us to do?
Yeah, so I will continue to use, well, I know you respond to Farm Life, so
Yeah.
usually.
And for me, a lot of times, honestly, guys, it's more about when we're communicating outward to other people on behalf of the library. It's nice to have that email address to send that official communication to folks rather than through our personals. It makes us look like we're really a part of the team,
Right,
if we
right,
are.
right.
But it's just a more official communication versus it coming from my Yahoo.
I will use Gmail for you.
No, you can use a Farm Live.
You think so?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll have it forwarded to me.
Okay.
I've got a soul, I've convinced her.
Okay.
I just haven't had a minute to.
Okay, that's right. Yeah, I just want to know, because, sometimes I'm doing both, and it's like, 16 email addresses I have on my list.
And then there are weeks like the past week where like Crystal, I know has probably 3 email addresses for me, right? That she may be reaching me on. And she probably didn't get a response on any of them.
Right,
So
right.
sometimes it's like,
Right.
Right.
there are weeks like that too.
Okay.
So with that being said, we appreciate you all,
Okay.
keeping us. Together.
And Kathy, what do you want me to continue?
You know, I'll try to get on it tonight.
Okay, you try it and then email me and let me know. If it doesn't work, I'll use your Gmail. Okay.
All right. Anything else? Okay, if not, we can consider ourselves adjourned.
Wow.
We didn't do it.
I know, I know.
We didn't.
Nope.
The question.
It's about that.
Still think you have to
I
do
didn't
it.
say.
That's what we said, no.
And we should staff.
Yeah, it says no.
Right, but what I meant was.
You know, I think we need to get somebody probably over there across the street, they can take our recording and feed it into something that would.
No, it's,
It's in.
no, I mean, obviously I agree with that, but like for this, I'm that's not, like, I'm not putting, because we didn't, I only normally take minutes on what we,